Hello, friends. Today I will show you how to create a mesh network with Xiaomi routers. I have B6500, B3600 and AX3000T. We will set up a network via a wired and wireless connection, and then check via a smartphone and browser that everything works as one network, and see how the devices are distributed. Xiaomi B6500 is a top-end router with Wi-Fi 7, for 2.5G ports and mesh support. Xiaomi B3600 is an affordable Wi-Fi 7 with a 2.5G port. Xiaomi AX3000T is a router with Wi-Fi 6 and 4 gigabit ports. All of them can work in a mesh network for seamless coverage. Subscribe if you are interested, and let's go. What is a Xiaomi mesh network? Xiaomi Mesh Network is a modern wireless internet technology that Xiaomi has implemented in its routers. The word mesh is translated as mesh network, and this name describes its essence perfectly. Imagine a network where several routers work together as a team, creating a single Wi-Fi coverage without dead zones. This is not just one router that distributes a signal, but a system of several devices that are friends with each other so that the internet is everywhere, from the living room to the far corner of the house or even the garden. The main feature of the mesh network from Xiaomi is that it is seamless. This means that you can walk around the house with a phone or laptop, and the connection will not be interrupted. The device automatically switches to the nearest router from the system, and you will not even notice it. No breaks during a video call or downloading a movie. Here in this video I already showed how it works using the example of a mesh network of two Xiaomi AX3000T routers. I went up to the second floor from the first floor and switched to the second router without a single connection break. Let's take it one by one. First, router team. In a Xiaomi mesh system, there are usually several devices, for example, 2, 3 or more routers. One of them connects to the internet, this is the main node, and the others catch its signal and amplify it, transmitting it further. Second, single network name. Unlike conventional routers or amplifiers, where you need to manually switch between networks like Wi-Fi 1 and Wi-Fi 2, in mesh everything is simpler. The entire system has one name, SSID, and one password. Your gadget itself chooses which node to connect to so that the signal is better. Third, smart communication. Routers in a mesh system communicate with each other. They can transmit data not only via Wi-Fi but sometimes via cable or even the home's electrical network, powerline technology, if supported by the model. This makes the network flexible and stable. Fourth, coverage without borders. If you have a large house, an apartment with thick walls or several floors, a regular router may not reach all corners. The mesh system solves this problem, because each node expands the coverage area. What is the Xiaomi mesh network for? Now let's move on to why all this is needed. Here are a few situations where mesh from Xiaomi will be your salvation. Large area. If you have a house, cottage or large apartment, where the Wi-Fi signal is weak or disappears altogether in distant rooms, mesh will provide stable internet everywhere. Many devices. In a modern home, everything is connected to Wi-Fi, phones, laptops, smart TVs, speakers, light bulbs, and even vacuum cleaners. Xiaomi's mesh system handles a bunch of gadgets at the same time without losing speed. Comfort and convenience. You don't want to reconnect to another network every time you move from room to room? Mesh does it for you automatically. Stability. If one node suddenly falls off, for example, the lights go out in that part of the house, the network will rebuild itself, and the internet will continue to work through other routers. Ease of setup. Xiaomi made mesh systems as user-friendly as possible. Usually, everything is configured through the Mi Home app on your smartphone, a couple of clicks, and you're done. Real-life example. Imagine, you live in a 2-story house. The router is on the first floor in the living room, and on the second floor in the bedroom. The internet barely pulls, the video slows down, games lag. We put one Xiaomi mesh router next to the main internet cable from the provider, and the second one on the second floor. As a result, we get a powerful signal throughout the house, and even in the yard you can safely watch online movies or play online games. Many will ask, why not just buy a powerful router or a signal amplifier? Here's the difference. A regular router, one signal source. If the walls are thick or the house is large, it will not cope. Repeater, strengthens the signal, but creates a separate network, and if you make a wireless repeater, the speed often drops by half. Plus, you have to switch between networks manually, since the phone will hold on to even a weak Wi-Fi network signal until the last minute. Mesh, several devices work as one network, speed is not lost, switching is automatic. Xiaomi Mesh is like Wi-Fi at maximum. You get coverage, speed, and convenience. To set it up, we need the Mi Home app, download it in advance. I also prepared Ethernet cables for the wired version and a laptop to access the router's web interface. Before connecting, if the routers have already been in operation, I recommend doing a full reset. To do this, hold the reset button on each router for more than 10 seconds with a paper clip until the network indicator starts blinking. We will use B6500 as the main router. Turn it on, connect it to the cable from the provider, connecting it to the first port of the router. First, connect to an open Wi-Fi network with the name RN02MINE, which consists of 4 characters. After connecting, a pop-up notification from the router will appear on the screen. In it, you need to accept all the proposed conditions by clicking on the blue button. If you need to separate the networks for 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz frequencies, you can disable their unification. To do this, just switch the corresponding toggle switch at the top of the interface. In this case, the settings for 2, 4, and 5 GHz networks will immediately become available. However, I prefer to set up a single network that combines all these frequencies. Next, you can change the name of the Wi-Fi network and set a new password. I will change the network by calling it Xiaomi Mesh. After making changes, press the blue button again and save the login data to memory. If the setup was successful, the indicator on the router will light up blue. This is a signal that the internet connection is established. If the LED turns orange, this indicates a problem that requires checking the router. Usually, the device automatically establishes a connection with the provider without additional actions. After that, it remains to find the updated Wi-Fi name in the list of available networks and enter the previously set password. Now the internet is fully available. The indicator on the front panel lights up blue. Everything is fine. For convenient management of the router, you can use the Mi Home mobile application. After installing and launching the program, my router was detected automatically. If this does not happen, you need to click on the plus icon at the top of the screen, select the option to add a device, go to the Routers tab and find the Xiaomi B6500 model in the list. Then enter the administrator password. At this stage it coincides with the Wi-Fi password. After that, you can assign a virtual room to the router and, if desired, change its name. That's it, we have added the main router. We connect B3600 and AX3000T to B6500 using an Ethernet cable. We use LAN ports. There are 2 options for wired connection. The first is AX3000T and B6500 connected to the LAN ports of B6500. But I want to connect sequentially. That is, I connect B3600 to the LAN port of B6500. And I connect AX3000T to the LAN port of B3600. First, you need to connect the Ethernet cable, and only then connect the power to the routers. Then everything will be fast and high quality. Now the router status indicators are blinking, which means they are paired into a mesh network. B3600 has already appeared in the mesh network. I connect the power for AX3000T. After a few minutes, we see that the connection indicator LED on all routers has turned blue, which means everything is ready. So simple, you ask. But I said that everything is very, very simple. When connecting sequentially, if the third router did not appear in the mesh network, connect it to the main router for 2 minutes until the indicator turns blue, and then to the second router in the network, and everything will work out. Let's check this. Go to the Mi Home application, open our router. Now go to the Mesh Network menu item and see that 2 routers are members of our built mesh network. We make the main settings in the B6500 router and they are applied to the other 2. But there are also separate settings for the AX3000T and B3600. We can reboot them, turn off the indicator LED or, for example, disable the NFS module, or make port aggregation. Let's check that we accurately manage the routers connected to the B6500. We go to the farthest at 3000T and here there are 2 options, either reboot it or turn off the indicator LED. I turn off the LED in the application and it goes out on the router itself. We check the same thing with the B3600 routers. In the router settings, I turn off the operation indicator LED. Here it is, it turns off on the router itself. Everything is fine, the routers are in the Xiaomi Mesh network. Now let's check what we see from the web browser. Connect to Wi-Fi. Despite the fact that our Wi-Fi network is distributed by as many as 3 routers, there will be only one Wi-Fi access point in the list. If you make a division between 2 and 4 GHz and 5 GHz Wi-Fi networks, then there will be 2 points 2 and 4 and 5. Go to the router admin panel by entering the IP address 192.168.31.1. The administrator password for the first connection will match the Wi-Fi network password. Click on the tab View the entire network, and as we see, here is our Wi-Fi network. 2 routers are connected to the B6500 in series AX3000T and B6500. We see the router connection diagram, and the Ethernet port icon, which indicates that the routers in the mesh network are connected by a wired connection. By hovering over any of them in the lower left corner we see the IP address of this router. And if we click on the router itself, we go to the administrative panel of this router. If in the main router we had the final connection, this is the internet, then here we see another Wi-Fi router in our mesh network. The number of devices connected to this router will also be displayed. And devices, for example, a smartphone, will automatically switch between routers in the mesh network as you move around the house or apartment. In the mesh settings, we can also update the router, save the configuration or reset it to factory settings. Depending on the model, additional items for configuring the router will appear in the advanced settings. For me, this is the ability to enable LAN port aggregation. You can also go to another router and make the necessary settings in it. As my experience of working with these routers has shown, I set it up once and forgot. Everything is very stable and without any problems. That's why I don't even think about flashing routers to alternative ones. The native firmware is very stable, equipped with a huge number of features and settings. As you can see for yourself, everything is very simple and fast. A wired connection is ideal for stability, especially if the routers are far from each other. We open the list of available Wi-Fi access points and see one Xiaomi Mesh wireless network. It operates in a dual range of 2 and 4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi. If you make a division in the settings, then 2 networks are blown, a 2 and 4 GHz network and a 5 GHz network. We open Wi-Fi Analyzer and see that each Wi-Fi router has its own network in the 2 and 4 GHz range. Each will have its own signal strength and possibly a channel. The same is true for the 5 GHz range. Each router has its own Wi-Fi network. This information can be useful for more accurate positioning of routers in a house or apartment in order to have a reliable connection everywhere. There are also several hidden Wi-Fi networks. A hidden network in Xiaomi Mesh systems is used to create a wireless connection between nodes, routers, in a mesh network. This network, often called a backhaul, provides communication between the main router and additional nodes so that they can work as a single system, expanding Wi-Fi coverage. It is hidden by default so as not to appear in the list of available Wi-Fi networks for users and not to create confusion. The main reasons for using a hidden network in Xiaomi Mesh. Traffic management. A hidden network allows nodes to exchange data with each other without the intervention of user devices, which increases the stability and speed of the system. Security. A hidden network is usually protected by a complex password and modern encryption protocols, for example, WPA3, which reduces the risk of unauthorized connections. Optimization of operation. This helps to avoid conflicts with the main Wi-Fi network used by user devices and minimize interference. In some cases, users notice this network through Wi-Fi analyzers, but it is not intended for direct connection. It cannot be disabled through the standard settings, as it is an integral part of the mesh system. Setting up a mesh wireless connection. But there are times when it is no longer possible to run an Ethernet cable for connection. Repairs have been made, you have beautiful wallpaper or plaster. And one router is no longer enough for comfortable work on the internet. Yes, this is not the best option, since you will not get the same performance as with a wired connection. But this is also a way out of the situation, and the main thing here is to find a place or places in the house where to place a second or a couple of Xiaomi routers for sufficient coverage without a drop in speed. I disconnect the Ethernet cables from the B3600 and AX3000 routers. And I will reset all 3 routers to factory settings. But I will leave the cable coming from my internet provider or GPO and terminal connected to my main B6500 router. Now I reconfigure all the parameters of the main router. I have already shown this, we will not dwell on this. Let's go to the Mi Home application and see that in the mesh menu there is nothing except the main router. Now let's connect B3600 and AX3000T to our mesh network. They will work as additional nodes and expand the Wi-Fi coverage. Connect the power to the B3600 Wi-Fi router. Now wait until the indicator starts blinking. It is important here not to connect the B3600 to the modem or the main router via cable. It should connect to the B6500 via Wi-Fi. Now let's add the B3600 to the mesh network. Open the Mi Home application. On the main screen, look for our B6500. It has already been added, and click on it. In the mesh router settings, find the option Add Mesh Node or Add Mesh Node. The name may differ depending on the version of the application. The application will start searching for new devices. Make sure that the B3600 is turned on and is within the Wi-Fi signal range of the B6500, approximately 10 to 15 meters, depending on the walls. Here is the router found RD15MIN AD76E. This is the native name of the B3600 router. The last digits may be different for you. When B3600 appears in the list, for example, Xiaomi router B3600, select it and click Add. The application will automatically connect B3600 to the mesh network. This will take 1 to 2 minutes. You will see a message that the node has been successfully added. B3600 will automatically accept the Wi-Fi network settings from B6500, the same network name and password. As you can see, the router has become a full-fledged member of the mesh network. The router status indicator began to glow blue. In the application, we see that our connection is wireless. The Wi-Fi network icon confirms this. Now let's add Xiaomi AX3000T. Make sure that the Ethernet cable is disconnected, and connect the router's power supply. Wait until the indicator starts blinking, 1 to 2 minutes. Return to the Mi Home app and go to the mesh settings. Select Add Mesh Node. The app will find the AX3000T. It will be displayed as RD03MIN A5398. Here you will see your other numbers. Select it and click Add. Wait for the AX3000T to connect to the mesh network, 1 to 2 minutes. It will also accept the Wi-Fi settings from the B6500. After adding, go to Mesh and you will see all three routers in the app, B6500, Main, B3600 and AX3000T, nodes. Great! All routers have been added to the mesh network. Now they work as a single system, distributing Wi-Fi throughout the house without wires. Regarding the settings of additional B3600 and AX3000T nodes, nothing has changed in the Mi Home application compared to the wired connection. Everything is completely identical. We open the laptop, and in the list of available networks, there is still one network that operates at a frequency of 2 and 4 or 5 GHz, depending on the operating mode of your adapter. Let's go and check this through the browser. We go to the address 192.168.31.1, enter the password from the Wi-Fi network or the administrator password if you set it. Go to the mesh settings and see that we have added 2 Wi-Fi routers. And they already have a Wi-Fi network icon, since they are connected via Wi-Fi to the main router. You can also go to each and make additional settings, as we did with a wired connection. You can press the routers with a wireless connection using this menu. We reset the router that we want to add to the mesh network, click on this button and wait. After a while, the router will be added automatically. Everything is the same as through the Mi Home application. We open the network scanner, and just like with a wired connection, we see that we have 3 routers working. On the graphs of 2 and 4 GHz, there are 3 networks at this frequency. At 5 GHz, there are also 3 routers with their own signal strength. These graphs can help you set up routers at home so as to close all the far corners. And in the list of networks, we also see that nothing has changed, one Wi-Fi network, although we have as many as 3 routers. If you create a guest network separately, it will also be distributed through these 3 routers, only there will be 2 networks in the list. I will show you later. Let's make a couple of additional settings so that everything works even better and faster. Update the firmware. In the Mi Home app, go to the settings of each router, B6500, B3600, AX3000T. Check if there are firmware updates for each router. If there are, install them. You can also make an automatic update for all routers. And at 4 o'clock in the morning or at the time you choose, the routers will completely receive the latest firmware. Set the priority of devices. In the B6500 settings, find the QoS, Quality of Service, or Traffic Management option. You can give priority to certain devices, such as a gaming laptop or TV, so that they always receive the maximum speed. Enable the guest network. If you often have guests, create a separate guest network in the B6500 settings. And set a separate password for it. This will limit access to your main devices, such as a smart home server, video cameras, and other devices. Here I turned it on, and as you can see for yourself, we have a new Wi-Fi network in the list of networks, and it also works through all 3 of our routers in the mesh network. Optimize the location. If the signal is still weak in some part of the house, try moving one of the B3600 or AX3000T nodes closer to this area. The Mi Home app has a network optimization function. Run it so that the routers themselves choose the best Wi-Fi channels and avoid interference from neighboring networks. Now your network is not only powerful, but also optimized for your needs. As you could see for yourself, even a child can handle it. Xiaomi made it quite simple and, in fact, routers are added and then work completely autonomously without the need for your intervention. That's it, friends. We have set up both a wired and wireless mesh network with the main Xiaomi B6500 router and additional B3600 and AX3000T nodes. Now you have stable and fast Wi-Fi throughout your home, without dead zones and at maximum speed. You can connect dozens of devices, stream 4K, play online games and not worry about the quality of the connection. If you have any questions or something did not work out, write in the comments, we will figure it out together. As you have seen for yourself, a wired mesh network is stability and ease of setup via cable. A wireless mesh network is convenience and flexibility, but requires a good signal from the main router. You can even combine them, for example, connect one router via a cable Ethernet connection, and connect the third router via a wireless connection. This option is also possible. So, if you want the internet without compromise, fast, stable and in every room, the Xiaomi Mesh Network is what you need. It is ideal for large houses, families with a bunch of gadgets or those who are simply tired of weak Wi-Fi. The setup is simple, the result is fire. Try it, and everyone will definitely appreciate how you upgraded your network. B6500 is the top for the main node, B3600 and AX3000T are an addition, an excellent bundle of devices. You will find all the links to the products in the description under the video. There is also a link to a group in Telegram, where you will find not only new products on the smart home system, but also coupons, promotions and other communication and answers to questions. There are also links to the smart home forum, where all topics are divided into sections for more convenient communication and information search. Please, don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss other interesting videos about smart and not so smart home systems. All the best to everyone, peaceful skies and goodness. Bye, bye.